Hello, everybody. Welcome to kind of impromptu Sunday service tonight because we are joined by Mr. Ian Hartup. Ian, your microphone is still muted. There we go. There we go. So we're joined by Mr. Ian Hartup tonight. So it's not going to be a full-on car show, but Ian's going to talk about one or two other bits and pieces. I'm going to actually be doing some live modelling tonight. I know. Incroyable. Who'd think you tune into a live modelling show and there'd actually be live modelling?
Who knew?
How's your week been, Ian?
Those of you who know me know that I work in the motor industry, and the 1st of September is the new plate day. So this week has been busy. Just stick with busy, shall we? Didn't all quite go to plan, but there you go.
Mr. Altegott says, welcome, Mr. Hartup. A very pleasant surprise. Hurrah! So there we go. Got your fan base, Ian.
Well, yeah, apparently so. As I said in the public Facebook group, you poor sods, twice in 10 days.
I know. I am going to be right. We'll jump straight into projects that I have been working on this week then, and I'm just about to put some paint on the Italeri Bedford QL, the old Max kit. However, the other thing that I was doing this week was the masking stickers for the Tamiya Wildcat, which I'm building as a Royal Navy Martlet Mark V. And Tamiya give you some stickers on some washi paper. They're not scored in any way. You've got to do that yourself. So I thought, do you know what? I'd rather take the artwork, scan it, bring it into a graphics program, and actually draw my own, draw my own decals, so that draw my own masks rather, so that I can then take them into the silhouette cutter and bang out some masks. So that's exactly what I did do. So there it is in the silhouette cutter, heading towards the cutting machine, and lo and behold, ta-da! There we go. Now these were cut on Oromask, which is a material I've used in the past, usually quite good. But I was finding on these ones that over the curved surfaces, the Oromask kept lifting. Now, it wasn't poor preparation. Those clear parts were actually cleaned in isopropyl alcohol and then left to naturally dry off overnight. So they were as clean as they could have been. I'm Mr. OCD here, washes his hands every 5 seconds. Yeah, it wasn't greasy hands or anything. So little bit of an issue with the Oromask works fine. I found though sometimes over curved surfaces it's a little bit too inflexible and it just wants to lift. So
does it have a shelf life?
Sorry, say again.
Does it have a shelf life?
Well, that's something Tim Perry asked me, was how old was my sheet of Oromask? And it's less than a year old, so it's not like it's been, kind of sitting around, not doing anything. So back to the drawing board, quite literally back to the drawing board. Ran it all out again, and I found I had a sheet of the Tamiya washi paper. So that's what I did. Bang that out again. Washi paper is absolutely brilliant. It just sticks. So I am. In fact, Anthony Bird rather kindly gave me a link to some suppliers that do washi paper. So I'm on the hunt for more washi paper. So long story short, masking the canopies again, part 2, and these were actually kind of primed with SMS US olive drab, which is a very nice kind of approximation to the bronze green that Grumman used on the cockpit. So there we go. Bang, we've masked them again, and then I went at them with some Hataka extra dark sea grey, just as a kind of like a preface to actually doing the painting properly. But no, they look to be fine. So the long story short, next time I do any masking, I'm going to be using washi paper. I'm not going to use I'll use the Aura mask, but not for areas that are small, because I just think the material wants to kind of revert to its natural shape, which is flat, and if it's on flat surfaces, fine. But anyway, that's where we are with that. Ian, comments?
Yeah. No, I'm with you on the Tamiya paper because there's a couple of packs hung up here. If I see it and I'm in a position to, I will always get a pack if it's hung up in the shop somewhere. I'm very lucky, as we've said before, the model shop in Crossgates, which is that way, is very good for stuff like that. So if I'm in a position where I'm down to only a couple of sheets in a pack, I'll always try and refresh the pack when I'm there. Although that's not a cheap shout nowadays. So yeah. But that is capability that I currently don't have.
Okay.
I've had conversations with Janet on a number of occasions, because she's a carder, about getting a silhouette cutter.
Yeah, you've definitely got to get her a silhouette cutter, Ian. Yep.
Generally, the consensus of that is there would be very little shared use. I would have it all the time, which I don't think I can convince her otherwise, to be fair. But then you look, I'm not in the position where I'd have anywhere to put it, more to the point. And B, I'd actually have, it would just be another rabbit hole for me. I use that phrase quite regularly. Coming back to the ADHD, OCD references, yeah, I go down a rabbit hole like that and you'll lose me for months. So I try my very damnedest not to do it. But it is technology and capability I would love to have right now.
How often would you use it? Oh, actually, we got a comment here from 9 Bolts who says, better to use masking sheets, either Tamiya or AK. Yep, absolutely. And again, a big shout out to Anthony Bird, who sent some links through to an online retailer that does lots and lots of these sheets. So I shall be having a look. But as 9 Bolts just said, your choices essentially come down to AK and Tamiya. So
yeah, there's got to be a wholesale supply, and I suspect it's going to be in the Far East somewhere.
So there's got to be somebody on eBay that is doing these sheets, doing these washi sheets. Anyway, we'll find it. We'll find something anyway. Damian Mullen says, yeah, this is the elephant in the room. He says, I see Revell are redoing their Meteor 130, their 32nd scale Meteor. Indeed, they are, Damian. Now, we're keeping that one back, discussion of that one. We're keeping that one back for when Drew is back on the show. Poor old Drew, he's a bit under the weather at the moment. So we do send him our best wishes for a speedy recovery. But yeah, that's very kind of you. But yeah, that's I think that's something Drew and I are going to have quite kind of like parallel opinions on. Is Revell, long story short, they announced about 18 months ago they were going to do a 32nd scale Meteor F3, and that's now changed to a Meteor F8. And I think that's the influence of a Mr. Luke Slaney Hewitt, quite frankly. So
have they abandoned the F3, or are they doing both?
I will ask Luke, but I think they've just decided that the F3. How many schemes can you hang on an how many schemes can you hang on an F3? How many schemes can you hang on an F8? There we go. There we go. But anyway, so yeah, hopefully
Looks that
we'll.
far away. Yeah. Okay.
There we go. Phil Phillips says, if you're seeing this, Drew, best wishes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And Andy says, be well soon, Drew. And Patrick says, get well soon, Drew. Yeah, so yeah, fingers crossed. But yeah, we're hopefully when Drew's up for it, we might do a pop-up live, but we will be talking about that at some stage. So we haven't forgot about it. So what's your modelling week been like then, Mr. Hartup?
I've been a busy little individual, actually.
You have.
I finished my dark purple skyline, and in the last couple of days, I've put it in a display case.
Oh,
that's actually intended for someone, so it's going to disappear off to them very shortly. That's that one. But as is always the way, of course, you go down. Talk about rabbit holes. I went down a rabbit hole, so I'm building another one. This is a Fujimi BNR 34, the V-Spec 2 No. This is an interesting kit. I bought this kit 6 months ago, and at the time it was like, oh, that's cheap. Oh, and it's now 34. Oh, and it's a NUR, which is the Nuremberg edition, the last of the straight 6 skylines officially. And I didn't do anything with it. I just sat on the shelf, as they often do. And then, obviously, having built that one, I then do, oh, I'll put another one. And I enjoyed that, which is, so this thing came out of the cabinet, off the shelf, rather. It's a snap type kit.
Okay.
But it's a grown-up snap type kit, if you know what I mean. It's not chunky, lumpy. It's a very, very nicely detailed, very accurate outline. In fact, I'm going to switch to my overhead camera, if I can, and we can have a look at it a bit closer. Bodywork detail. It's got molded in grills, they need picking out back, but body shape, it's absolutely lovely. The colour, incidentally, now I've just dropped it, this is why I started building it, because I originally got myself in the head about testing these Gunze GX colours. So this is GX metallic purple over one coat of Tamiya grey primer, buffed lightly with the usual, the Trizact, and then thinned with leveling thinners, and it's absolutely beautiful, and it's absolutely rock hard stuff. Really nice with that. It's had one coat of GX112 UV cut gloss, thinned with leveling again. It needs another, possibly another after that. We'll see how it shines afterwards. I did a little thing on my page about using the Winsor & Newton inks for the shot lines. Just run it in with a brush, and then the cotton bud slightly dampened just to take the excess off. So that's all been done all the way around it. So yeah, that's coming on a treat. The rest of the kit is absolutely the simplest thing in the world. The only thing with it is they don't provide masks, so there's some of my dubious masking going on this.
Get yourself a silhouette cutter, Ian.
Yeah, sure. Hey. I'll let you take that up with Janet and my bank manager. Okay. Anyway, I've got the dropsies tonight. That has got the most positive location of any glass in a kit I've experienced in a long time. See what I mean?
Yep.
From
superb.
A point of view of engineering, everything's done with these little cross type pins.
Yeah.
The interior's all slot. These are literally all clicked together. This piece clicks onto here. There's a supporting rod in here that holds it in place. The whole of the suspension clicks together. The only thing that I've actually glued on is this rear diffuser plate. No, I haven't painted the underside of the chassis because you're not going to pick it up and look. Exhaust tips clip on. It is just really nice. Decals were really sweet as well. They appeared to be cartograph. I might be wrong, but they did appear to be cartograph. And from a point of view of putting it together, it literally just with a little bit of leverage fits in sweetly. But I'm not going to put it together now because I've still got work to do. on the interior. But that is just the most surprising little kit. Not massively expensive, reasonably easy to lay your hands on. Yeah, the only problem, as I say, no window masks in it, unlike the Tamiya ones. I would have liked them. I have messaged our friends at Zoom On and gone, guys, can we have? But they haven't replied yet. So that's been occupying most of my week. I did a couple of hours on this thing. Those projects you have that kick around your bench forever?
Yes. I'm looking at some guilty suspects in here at the moment.
Yeah, I think this one's up to 20 years now.
Good Lord. You get money's worth out of it.
Yeah. This is one of those pieces where you start with something very simple and end up with something very complex. That is originally a 1961 Ford Galaxy, which looks nothing like what I've got in my hand. But I've been struggling with the windscreen. I've put the windscreen, finally got the windscreen into place, and I've broken both A posts.
Ooh.
So now media work to do to put that right. But that is actually approaching the end of the line. It's a low rider conversion. So hopefully come Scale Model World, that will be on the custom car, custom and hot rod car SIGs table as a finished model. And I think they'll all be pleased to hear me stop whittling about it. So there you go.
Superb. Yeah, you've just reminded me. There are a couple of car projects I want to get a wiggle on with. One of which, ironically, is actually the Airfix Bond Bug.
All right.
Yeah, I really want to build one of them, but unfortunately, it's proving so popular at the moment that I can't actually get one out of the office because they've. Yeah, so it might have to be a trip to Jadlam. So might have to go in there and actually buy one. But right, where are projects? I have been working on my Tamiya Martlet, and well, I have just, as we were talking, I have just applied the decal for the seat there. This is the SMS US olive drab, and as I say, it's a very green olive drab, but it's a very bronze olive drab. But this is why, to me, it looks like that kind of bronze green that that Grumman used on some of their aircraft interiors. So what we've done is pop the decal on there, and I'm just going to let that sit for a little while, and then go in there with a cotton bud just to bed it on the edges a bit more. Oops, daisy. Then I am going in. Hold on to your hats, folks. I'm going in with some Microsol. So I'm just going to clean the brush because it had a bit of microset on it. Now this is where you sometimes have to do multiple applications of this stuff because it takes a little while for it to really start melting the decal. So I'm just blobbing it on at the moment, and eventually that will, as I'm folding it over, eventually it will stay put. But anyway, I'm just gonna leave that as it is at the moment. Like I say, it will. There we go. It's starting to take effect now. There we go. Right. So we will do, ready for this, Ian, live decaling actually on the show. Now, here is the instrument panel. Technical term, I know, but there we go. So there's the instrument panel. As you may notice, it's a little bit shiny. That's because we like shining up our bits before we slap stickers on them. And here we have some of the instruments for the center of the cockpit. So I'm just going to snip those bits off now. Incidentally, beautiful nail scissors that I got about 14 years ago from a craft fair. Worth investing in a decent pair of scissors, and these only ever get used for decaling. So we have a dish of tepid water here. There we go. This is like Blue Peter, and I'm just dipping the decal into the water, and then I'm just going to blob it onto the paper and let the excess soak off. Whilst I'm waiting for that, I'm just going to clean the brush out. A bit of micro set.
Blue bottle.
Blue bottle, yep. Yeah, hello. I am Blue bottle. Yeah, there we go. That's one for the older listeners. Hello, my good man. Hello. So I'm just waiting for the. Let's get rid of that. Oh, Tamiya. I wish Tamiya do what we do, is actually put a varnish film on their decal numbers, because when they kind of disintegrate, you get bits of decal numbers start mingling with the decal, and that's, yeah, you know, it's just like, just slap a varnish on it. So I'm just waiting for that to, there we go, it's taken now. Go on.
Just reading Chris Buckholtz's comment about scissors.
Oh, I'm going to go and have a look at that in a second.
I have 4 pairs of excellent surgical grade scissors. Any advice on how to keep my 11-year-old daughter, an old enough to know better wife, from borrowing them and never returning them? No, Chris.
No,
there is no return from that position.
No, there's no return from that position. I'm just, oops, Daisy, I'm off camera. I'm just positioning these roughly. I'm just aligning them with the holes, and I'm going to let that, just going to let that dry for a few minutes, and then again I'm going to get at it with some microsol. But there we go. That's the modelling element out of the way tonight, Ian. Doing some modelling. That's a shocker. But no, I want to get a wiggle on with this, because I've got a number of things to get done for Telford, which is what, 9 weeks away. Yeah, it's about 9 weeks away. That will disappear, and I can tell you why that will disappear is because next Saturday is the last night of the BBC Proms, and it only feels like a week ago it started, and that's an 8-week musical extravaganza it's gone. It's a festival. That's the word I was looking for.
Walked through my local supermarket, and there was Halloween on the shelves.
That's all right. My local Home Bargain's already got all its Christmas stuff in. So Peter Oxley says, Blue Bottle, Harry Seacombe. For those who don't know the reference, it's the 1950s radio show, The Goon Show, and Peter Sellers, Harry Seacombe, and Spike Milligan, and indeed Michael Bentine in the very first series. So absolutely brilliant. Tony Surridge asks a question. He says, has anybody used an Elgu Mars 5 Ultra 3D printer?
Sorry.
Not me. That's something. That's a rabbit hole I have yet to fall down.
2 of us.
And Mr. Fleming makes the observation. He says, Grumman cockpits. You could just a party in there, throw a party in there. And he's right. Hellcat cockpits are big. You could host a party in there. Yeah, they are.
But P-47 cockpits are much the same, aren't they?
And Jim says Halloween is completely overlooked in America. Straight to Christmas after Labor Day. Yeah. So I'm just waiting for. No, it still hasn't. I'm just having a look at my decal here. It still hasn't quite started to lay down yet. But we will go in there with some.
I'd be hitting that with my hairdryer by now.
Well, you'd have put it in your dehydrator. So
yeah, well, no, I don't do that with a hairdryer, then the dehydrator.
yeah, well, Ian, what use am I going to have for a hairdryer? Come on.
Setting decals, it's redundant for other purposes, isn't it? Let's think so.
Very good point. Right, next item from Ian then. Come on.
Next on the bench.
Next on the bench. Go on.
Next on the bench. We'll do a next on the bench. So going a bit back in time. This.
Oh.
Right. Ooh. Okay. So this is one of those things that's great value. This is one of AMT's triple packs. So California Drag Combo. 1964, sorry, Ford Galaxy and a altered wheelbase Ford Falcon dragster and a trailer in a pack. In the States, it comes in at around the $70 mark, which is about 60 quid. I think it's retailing somewhere near the £90 over here because of all the usual stuff. But that's a lot of value in one box. The Galaxy is a Craftsman Series 1. If you know your AMTs, you'll know that's a basic kit. If you don't, I'll tell you. So you get the 3-in-1 type kits, the Trophy Series, they come with engine detail and more detailed interiors. The Craftsmans were ones that you literally they were basically an annual kit, an annual converted to kit form. So a tub with everything molded in and a panel, locks together with locks into the bottom there. There's glass elsewhere. You know, it's a straightforward thing. Big chunks of chrome for the front grills and stuff like that. So they're a fairly simple build. They aren't new. This is actually a reasonably recent retooling. I think they had bits of the kit and they put bits back together to make a full kit again. Got some very nice hubcap wheels. That's the kit. There you go. That is it. And that's quite a, you know, it's a cool little thing. A 64 Ford is a very, very attractive car. There's acres of chrome. The Ford Falcon, they went through a period of altering existing older plastic into these altered wheelbase cars. So if you look inside, there's actually quite a bit of scarring. This is the Falcon body. Altered wheelbase, move the wheels forward, put weight over the back, makes them quicker, that kind of thing. But these were a bit more complicated. They came out with hard plastic tires and yeah. So I've sourced some replacement tires from one of my AMT parts packs, and that's on the go. There's the chrome for that one. All the sprue with big exhaust headers and the raised front. It's a gasser type thing, and then you get a fairly substantial trailer. Yeah, that's a proper piece of girder work, that, to go behind with it all on it, which is twisted quite nicely. But the highlight of it.
What year was this tooling, by the way, Ian?
Sorry?
What year was this tooling?
It depends. The trailer tooling has been modified, I believe. I think this is one that originally came out about 1960, 64, something like that, in that early part of the 60s. The Falcon in its original form, and I stand to be corrected, and Lee Croden will no doubt jump in and tell me, I think that's a 63, 64 Falcon, 3-door. So that tooling's of its age. That's a mid-60s tooling, modified. The 64 Ford is a fairly recent body shell, but based on an older kit. So, but this is the highlight.
Oh, I say.
How about that?
That's a bit tasty, isn't it?
It just. So we'll take it out of the plastic so it doesn't shine everywhere. But that is, this is the measure of some of the AMT recent issues. They love to give you a decal sheet that's rammed with stuff, absolutely rammed with stuff. So options to go on the strip, on the race car, bits and pieces to go on the tower, to tow it all together, official tow car logos. You've got The cat from AMT down there. Those of you who take notice will notice he kicks around my bench all the time. Some gauges for the Falcon Dash, some gauges for the Galaxy. Some quite cool bits and pieces, and a lot of these sponsor decals are period, so you're going to use them on a lot of other projects. You end up with I've got an enormous stack of these days. There's wins. In the decals that we were looking at for the Porsche 911 last week, there was a purple Porsche 911. That's a Wins sponsored, a tribute to a Wins sponsored car, and Wins are still going and still sponsoring. So things like there's Valvoline, but those are that is just lovely. And the thing is, in typical AMT, they give you no indication as to what you should put where. So it's do-it-yourself stuff. But if you look at some period photographs, so these would go on the hood on either side of the power bowls, which I cannot lay my hand on right now. Bear with me a minute. This is
sorry to interrupt, Ian. Are they screen printed decals or are they litho decals? Are the colours solid or are they a little bit kind of?
Colours are solid. They are absolutely lovely. I think you can possibly.
Yep. That's anybody who's wondering why that you mentioned the price of that kit. That's not a cheap decal sheet to produce.
No. And if you think every time I get an AMT kit, hang on a minute, I'm just leaning across to something. Bear with me.
Bear with.
Yeah, this is the 65 Bonneville. So this is a fairly recent reissue. I'm just going to move that deck out of the way. This was reissued last year, I think. This is more when you get one of the full content kits. Excuse me. How about that one?
That's nice.
And so every time you get one of these modern round 2 issued kits, it has something like this in it, of this kind of size and content. But they always did. If you go back to the period ones, there's never one to reach for when you want one. You'll find something like this, albeit in a period condition. They do tend to crack up with time. But these they're just half the value of the kit. You know what I mean? To you. I mean, these green and black stripes on the Bonneville custom. Yeah, you get where I'm going with that, can't you? They're just great value. And I have to say, the decal sheets are often very much the highlight of some of them, because some of the plastic is very old and very tired. But we won't get we're not getting anything else of that car ever again. Tamiya aren't going to turn around and produce an all new kit of a 64 Falcon Fastback, Galaxy Fastback, are they? Never gonna happen.
No.
So we're reliant on manufacturers like Round 2 and Revel. I mean, Revel do some lovely older kits, and they're just about to reissue the Stranger Things series kits. Are just they're bearing down on us with increasing severity, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the Bronco in particular. But that's going to be quite some model when it's built up.
Yeah, that's going to be quite a bit of heft, isn't it? Jim has a question. Jim says, question, how do these newer decals work? As meaning, are they good quality?
Yes.
There we go. Right. Question answered.
Absolutely. Absolutely top notch, Jim. There's... I'm trying to think what I've built recently where I used some of them on it. And I was putting these decals on it and just thinking, well, these are nice. And they just went on and settled into the detail and it looked like they were painted on after just an hour. That's a really cool subject. And it's something it's been sitting over there staring at me for about 2 years since I brought it back from the States. And and I just got to that point. I went, yeah, I'm going to have to do it next, aren't I? Because I can't build another skyline because it'll just be like, I've built 4 now and I'll never build one ever again. And I have, and you've got a picture. The only picture I've sent you for tonight, I've got this to build.
Yep, which is
that. Not Paul Walker, the car. Although I do have a Paul Walker figure. Although it doesn't, it just says Paul on it, not Paul Walker, because it's it's one of those Far Eastern things. But yeah, that one needs building, and I really don't want to fluff that one. So
yeah. I know what you mean. I know what you mean because I've got the Tyrrell was actually not a bad example because it was one of those kits that I was waiting for the perfect time to build it.
Yeah.
And to actually have the challenge, that was the perfect time to build it. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about there. Sorry, I'm just having a quick look at the comments here. Classic model building says same as the old ones, no trimming, but people print decals for less than £20. I'm not with you there. Classic model building.
I think Chris's comments are better. He's the one that I was drawn to.
There we go. This sheet reminds me of my dad's advice to 8-year-old me. You don't have to use all the decals.
Well, and where in fact you do. And you have to use all the custom parts every time. It's like when Airfix used to put 2 or 3 variants with lots of munitions. The F4, the 72nd scale F4, which you could build everything from a B to an E to everything, couldn't you? And I seem to remember building that, and that was mine had every piece of munitions in the box attached,
everything on it. Yeah,
and Israeli decals, and it was So those are simpler days, weren't they? We were talking about this last week.
Yes, they were. We've got a comment from John Connolly. Interesting comment there. He says, with former Airfix now at Revell, can we hope the end opening boxes will go? They are not stash ready. I think stash ready or stash friendly. I'm with you on that. I hate those end opening boxes, and Revell, they're one of the few manufacturers. I think Italeri probably still do enders as
only in the smaller boxes.
Yeah, but no, I absolutely loathe those boxes. Sorry, Revell, but they are just a pain dans la derrière. They are.
I'm in enough trouble over my comments about Revell kits this week. Those of you who follow my on Plastic Wheels page will know that I did a video review on my YouTube channel of the new Corvette. And I was a little critical of not the kit, the endeavor of the kit and the way it's designed and all that. Look, I cannot fault. What I will fault is the god awful plastic it's producing.
Soapy.
Yeah, understatement. I think if you put it under running water, it would lather up. It needs an Imperial leather sticker on the roof, and we're away. But I've experienced Revell plastic over many years, reviewing for Airfix magazine historically and things like that, and it's usually the issue when it comes to building them revolves around that plastic quality. Even AMT are putting better stuff in their kits. This is, and
that's what I call the tink test, right? Is whenever I buy a new kit, I always tap it with what remain of my fingernails. I always tap it. If it goes tink, then I know it's good quality plastic. If it just goes, it's like,
I think the phrase I used was spoiling it for a ha'porth of tar. I get that they're working within the recycled plastic regulations, which I believe is for Germany. I might be wrong there. But it's a model kit. Is it going to get recycled? other than through our stash sales, which is a
Mm.
different kind of recycling. I just don't get it. And it's a pig to bond. It's definitely a pig to get a good finish on. I've seen some really, really well done models from Revell kits, but the additional effort required to get that finish
Mm.
from the initial product is, yeah. But I got a snotogram email from someone who told me I wasn't qualified to comment on it, which
I'm thinking back. Goodness me, it must be about 10 years ago. Yeah, it was about 10 years ago. I bought the then new Revell F4U1 Corsair, F4U1D Corsair. But I bought it and thought, oh, brand new kit. Really look forward to building this. It was so massively kind of overcomplicated in terms of trying to wring other variants out of it, that where it should have been more linear as a kit, it wasn't. But it was molded in white, but the plastic they molded it in was absolutely horrible. It was just anyway.
Yeah, so I get the end opening box thing. Yeah, they don't stack. Although if you notice anything Revell in my collection is usually stacked on that way.
At the top, yeah. Mike says, I spoke to Revell when they were doing some market research recently. Apparently, everyone said the same thing, end opening boxes. So watch this space. Well, as I say, we hopefully we'll try and get Luke on the show at some stage. Yeah, I think we'll lob that one at him and see what
I was looking at a friend's Airbus A400 kit that had been mailed to him, and it was quite well packaged, even for the mail in the mailer. But it's a big box, but the way it looked when he opened the packaging was terrifying.
Well, I've got up in the attic, it's the Revell. I don't want to turn it into like, let's have a go at Revell's packaging show, but I've got their Ed Force 1 kit, the Iron Maiden 747. So it's the old 747 just with new Iron Maiden decals on it. That box has never been anywhere. I literally bought it and then just put it up in the attic. The box is self-collapsing. I don't get it. It's anyway. So yeah, we'll try and get Luke on the show.
That'd be good.
That will be good. Yeah, absolutely. Right, Ian. We are at the 45-minute mark.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to talk about?
Yes. Blimey. Let's have a look at some 3D printed bits.
Yes, please.
Yes. Miriam. I have been talking about this. This is the new Porsche 911 992 RSR. This is the body shell for it. There's a parcel coming to me from Macau, I think, at the minute, with an alternate decal option for this in it. So I'm not touching it until that arrives. Because apart from the thing, I need to know what colours to paint the body. So more of that as it arrives. But I was talking in my video review of it about the 3D printed bits. So I've been threatened with the bits that I was saying, do we really need them? And the first bits to arrive came from Fat Frog in Hong Kong, and they are, let's have a little look. I don't know, my camera's going to focus on that. Let's move that out of the way. This is a 3D printed, there we go, that's a bit better, intake that goes in here. Here's one I cleaned up. These are beautiful. The open mesh, hollow. I will eat my words. Yes, that is an entirely necessary improvement to the kit part. They give you a bit of plastic mesh and tell you to cut it to shape. That is a push fit with a little bit of coaxing into place. Huge improvement. Now, our friends at Hobby Easy right now, if you buy this kit, are throwing them in.
Ooh.
That is a sensible piece of marketing. But there you go. That's really nice. Really like those. The kit's lovely. That's all I think. I could go on about that kit forever, and I probably already have.
I'm going to bring up. Bear with. I'm just bringing up a banner here because I do declare that. There we go. So it's www.hobbyeasy.com.
That's the one.
That's the one. So yeah, if you want to head over there, folks, and take them up on that offer, there you go.
Yeah, it's a sensible upgrade. It's not we're throwing something ridiculous at this because you really want to open the door and do all that. This improves the appearance of the model instantly, and it's something everybody's going to benefit from. The kit provides a bit of plastic mesh which you're supposed to cut to a shape and then glue onto the inside and then put behind it in place. It's the same stuff as Tamiya use for their meshes in their.
Oh, the stuff that delaminates eventually, yeah. No,
yeah, you know the little SDKFZ 222 armored car with the open mesh bits that go on the top of the turret. That stuff.
But that's why when I got my copy of that kit, I got the one with the photo etched upgrade in it. So
that's the DAC one, isn't it?
Yeah, I hate that mesh. It just once it starts going, it just completely kind of like unravels itself, and it's just anyway.
It degrades with time, doesn't it? So it just But those are the kind of things where you can see a sensible upgrade for a minimum amount of effort.
Like I say, and 3D printing has got us to this stage now where these things can be done, and it's you're not having to go through the photo etching route. You've got, I know it was one of the things people always complained about with photo etch was that it's flat. It has absolutely no kind of, 3D printing is now giving us that kind of three-dimensional aspect. So. Right, they will jump to the workbench camera because we have not been idle whilst things have been going on. And yes, we've now got the seatbelt decals have been tamed onto the seat with some microsol. Good old microsol, love it. In fact, I remembered I do have a separate brush that I use for microsol. So that color theming here, Ian. Microset is the blue one and Microsol is the red one. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You knew what you were doing.
I know. So we've just got some Microsol on here, but they're starting to conform into where they're supposed to go. Like I said, there's a little bit of kind of jiggery pokery to make sure that they will land where they're supposed to land. But yeah, they are starting to kind of bed down now, so we're going to leave that and probably just at the end of the show, give it another coat, but just leave it to set overnight, and that'll be it. You've had a kit turn up, haven't you?
What did I have turn up?
You had was it the Porsche?
No, I had the Corvette arrive.
Yeah.
Which I did the review around, which we've spoken about. The Porsche is already here for last week.
Oh yes, of course it was.
Yeah, I mean this is. It's nice. You wait for something for a very long time, and we have with this thing. You kind of think, oh, is it going to be any good when it gets here? This isn't the best way to display it, but there's some real thought gone into this, and I think a few people are saying, well, it took a long time, and I get the feeling that someone at Porsche might have said, no, lads, this has got to be right. If you're going to do this, this is our big car in racing, and yeah, they've just thought it through beautifully. There's mask sets in here. There's a separate decal for the livery. Even the instructions seem to be a little more detailed than previously, and a little clearer. So they've got it right, and I think having waited as long as we had, if they hadn't got it right, that would have been a lot of people's relationship with them ending, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is. I'm still resisting building that one. That pin. I think there's gonna, when you get to Telford in November, I suspect there's gonna be a few on tables in that livery.
Mm-hmm.
I've opted for one of the 2019 cars. Let me get the reference out, and there is a decal sheet on its way to me, courtesy of some friends of mine in the Far East. Because I'm going to do, although no sooner had I agreed that that was the one I'd like him to send me, someone else announced the Dempsey Proton car. This one,
Mm-hmm.
with all the little race numbers all over it, and the Chopard power, and there's 2 race number options. There's a detailed shot of that hood. Let me see if I can find it. I remember seeing it somewhere. There, this is the.
Oh,
this is
my
what the
goodness
blue and
me.
red stripes look like.
Yeah.
So that one's on the way. So that's going to get built pretty damn soon. Just that's that intake we've just been looking at. Very clearly is an open mesh with structure behind it. So that 3D printed part's actually on the nail for that. Still fancy this one though. And that's coming as a deco sheet, that complete with the young lady all over it.
Good Lord.
Which
I'm hoping this is going to be PG rated, Ian.
It is.
Yeah,
It definitely is.
Yeah.
It's. I don't know what it was. Mentos sponsored, and I think it relates to them. But the scheme is it's an art car, so it's very much PG rated, that one.
All
but
right.
that's the back end. It's going to be interesting to see that one when
That's
it comes.
going to be a Decaling job and a half, isn't it?
Yeah. How? There's a question.
Go on.
Go back to. There's a question. We get a lot of people who seem to go, and there's a couple of guys I know who build cars who go, "Oh, decals. Oh. What's people's opinion of Decaling? I find it monumentally therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
It's the thing that I go to. You know, when you've got the paint and you've got the model to the point where the paint's gone on right.
Mm-hmm.
Into cars, I've got a gloss coat on it. The camouflage is done right, or the paint scheme's done right. I've got my gloss coat on. Put the decals on, and that's the moment the model comes alive for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because it goes from being a model to something with an identity.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It does, because Paul Boyer of Fine Scale Modeler, this is going back about 30 years ago, but he said that decaling was always the favorite part of the process for him, and he would decal for America. If decaling was an Olympic sport, I think he said he would decal for America. It's still a process I like. But goodness me, it's all these kind of like unnecessary stencils. It drives my. I should have a word with whoever does these things. It does my head in, mate.
Yeah, usually when I'm working my way through the second or third section of stencils.
Yeah, there we go. Dave Fleming says, I like decaling, except when Maniac designers put in 10,000 decals.
Yeah. Your name may be taken in vain on a regular basis.
I think it probably does, actually. And Rally Chef's Model Shed says, I'm with you on this, Ian. Rally car decaling, therapeutic time. And Jim says, decaling is therapeutic when the decals work properly.
Yeah.
Ian, any other business?
Oh, I think I'm about there, maybe.
Okay.
Unexpectedly, I've just shut up.
Yeah, absolutely. Unlike us to be kind of like that kind of like that well organized. Christopher Joseph Buchholz says the model looks like a painted shape until the markings go on. Yeah, that's a very good point. It is. I don't know. It's you see, I have a system whereby the last markings I tend to put on will be the national markings. So if I'm with this martlet I'm building at the moment, I'll be doing it as the Royal Navy one. But the last things I will be adding will be the roundels and the fin flash. It just it's like you've kind of like, you know, there's your meal, and that's the trifle, and the last bit of the trifle is the icing bit at the top with the hundreds and thousands on it, and it's just that element of decaling that, you know, that I enjoy. It's just that, to me, you put all the decals on, but when the national markings go on, that's when it's suddenly, oh, that's just the way I do things. But not all the time. There are occasions where I'll put the roundels and stars and bars on first just to get them out of the way. So there's no method to the madness here.
Yeah, it depends on the context of the model as well, doesn't it? Though?
Yeah. Well, and also whether there are other decals that have to go on top of of other decals and things. Dave says, funny, I put the national markings on first. So
I was thinking the same myself, actually.
That's it for tonight, folks. A big thank you to Ian for jumping in at the last second to fill in for a poorly Drew Manton. So, Drew, if you're watching, you should be. I hope you're well soon, and we want to have you back on the show. Want to have Drew on the show so we can talk about that Revell Meteor. So, folks, a big thank you to Mr. Ian Hartup for filling in tonight. Looking forward to the next proper car show, Ian, because I might actually whisper it. Might actually be building a car by then. So, yeah, probably something for Telford. So until the next time, everybody out there, look after yourselves, look after everybody around you, stay safe, stay out of trouble, and we will see you. Well, we'll probably try and do a pop-up live in the meantime, but we will see you next Sunday. So until then, stay out of trouble. See you soon. Bye.